welcome everybody. It's Ukraine Update here with the Shills, and as you can see by the hive on the side there, we've got an amazing panel of people once again. This is going to be so... I think I'm nursing a semi already. So I think what I'm going to do is turn it over to Greg Terry so he can introduce you to all the amazing
Thank
people.
you, Peter. How you like that one? Thank you, Dickie Dawson.
Technically, it's not an obscenity.
No, it's not. I'm just having fun with him. Yana, South Africa,
Yes, sir.
Project Constantine in the house. Operating System, Starsky in the house, OS. Welcome, brother. Nice to see you. Georgie, Ukraine Matters is in the house and on his channel as well. Thank you, Georgie. Nice to see you there, my friend. We also have Slavi in the house again. Ukrainian via Los Angeles, if my memory serves correct. We have Tridents Against Tyrants, the legendary one, Secular Sakai, and as always, the stabilizing force with the Malamute at his feet. Commander McMillan is in the house with his expertise and experience.
Good call.
Unfounded
Good call.
opinions?
Hey,
I didn't say that.
Okay, good.
Greg,
I have to have some
Greg,
percent-
literally,
Yeah.
you gotta work on a radio. I'm telling you, I tell you that. You have a good
agree.
future. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Listen, maybe if I do, you will be the co-host, and we will go places, buddy.
Absolutely,
go.
absolutely. Eating
Okay,
with
thank you.
Starsky and Greg. That will
Oh,
be
wouldn't
like
that be
the
good?
title
I love it.
for the upcoming show.
Okay,
We'll get you on.
Okay,
Awesome.
listen. Here's the prophecy, because it's been a few weeks since Starsky and I've been together. In the next week or two, we'll do a live, and it'll be Eating with Starsky and Greg. Okay, there we go.
I've
Awesome.
done it already. It's pretty nice. I recommend everyone to eat with Starsky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Matt,
Welcome, everybody. It's going to be a
Oh.
great day. Tough week for Ukraine, but some
Indeed.
good news as well. And big summer ahead of us. That's for sure.
Well, speaking of which, we should probably get some headlines in, and then we can start yammering and chatting about things and whatnot. Starsky, you got a few in the pocket ready there? Shall I hit the stinger?
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Awesome.
Okay, my friends, I think I should start with the most recent updates. Russian terrorists hit Kharkiv with missiles. In particular, they hit the so-called epicenter mall. This is like a network of big malls where you can buy pretty much anything, like Leroy Merlin. So those are Ukrainian malls, and unfortunately they hit one of them in Kharkiv with a missile, and there was another strike in the central park of Kharkiv. We can see that Russian terrorists deliberately target civilian objects. As of this moment, we know about at least 5 civilians dead in the epicenter, in the mall, but more details will be published soon, I believe. Over this week, there were several very, very successful strikes again, particularly in Donetsk region. We know that a whole Russian battery of anti-air systems were eliminated with a TACAM strike. We also know about a successful strike on Russian Center for Space and Satellite Communications. Unfortunately, this week we also lost some territory in the area of Kharkiv, specifically at the border, the direction of Stary direction of Kharkiv. Unfortunately, Russians were able to push a bit deeper into Ukrainian territory. Currently, they advanced approximately 5 miles deep into Ukrainian territory over the course of 2 weeks. But from the rumors that I hear from my guys on the ground, So the situation is kinda improving. It's too early to speak, with 100%. My God, I'm forgetting English words. It's hard to
Certainty.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That's the word. It's hard. It's too early to be optimistic yet. Okay, but we have some positive, let's say, gossips from the guys on the ground. There is a tendency that Russian advance will most probably slow down very, very soon. We're talking about weeks, not months. So this is something that gives us hope. Also 110th Brigade shot down another Su-25 Russian attack aircraft. And one thing I wanted to talk today, guys, is today we are celebrating happy 500,000. So as of today, according to the General Staff of Ukraine, the mark of the death toll of Russian invaders crossed the mark of 500,000 eliminated orcs. How accurate is this number? I would say pretty much accurate. So, for example, recently we received some interesting data from Russian Foundation of Social and Pension Insurance of the Russian Federation.
Wouldn't that just be a firing squad? I mean,
so according to this institution, and it's a state institution in Russia, as of late 2023, more than 466 disabled people in Russia, and we're talking about young people with disabilities, where needed wheelchairs, prosthetics, and other special equipment. Number of disabled people with acquired disabilities in Russia grew by 42%, or 137,000 people who need rehabilitation. So as you can see, it's not like, they became disabled because of COVID. No, we know the exact reason why they need wheelchairs and prosthetics and things like that. So I would say that the number of 500,000 orcs is more or less accurate, right? And here I have, because back in Ukraine, I had this good tradition of having ice cream in Bucha every time Russian losses would cross the mark of like another 100,000 terrorists. This time I'm celebrating with ice cream in Germany, and here I have ice cream made out of peaches and maracuya. I'm not sure if you like maracuya. I love maracuya. It's absolutely fantastic, and I have like this big plate of ice cream. It's like 1/8 of everything that I still have in my fridge. So salute. And guys, you will be like,
So
like, what kind of monster are you to celebrate the deaths of people? Fuck off, like, seriously. I'm Ukrainian. I have all rights
fuck that.
to celebrate.
They're not people, they're invaders.
Yeah,
Fuck
absolutely. They just today they hit Kharkiv, they hit mall with civilians inside. It wasn't a military base, it was a fucking civilian mall. I will be celebrating them dying until I'm alive, guys. I swear. I'm sorry, but this is reality. Another thing
that before you go there, that epicenter, that's the one near where I actually stay in Kharkiv, and that's where we actually shop, and with thousands and thousands of dollars of stuff that we've had to buy there. Like, you're out and you have the big aid with you, but then you always need certain things, axes, chainsaws, whatever. That's actually the epicenter that we shop at. And Zhenya messaged me as soon as it hit today and says, dude, our epicenter just got smashed. And I can confirm 1,000,000% there's not a military target within 2 kilometers of that place. So it is a civilian shopping mall. Epicenter, guys, for here in the U.S., it'd be like a ginormous mixture of Home Depot and Best Buy, and incredible shopping center. There's a movie theater around there. There's other shops around there, restaurants. It's a civilian hangout section right there in that part of Kharkiv. So, sorry, Starsky, but I just wanted people to know.
Was it the one that that is towards the eastern part of the city, towards northeast?
It's on northwest.
Northwest.
Yeah.
There is no epicenter.
It's on the outer. It's on the outer loop road. It's in just north of Shevchenskivsky. You come in from Zolochiv down through Dergachi. You get to the loop road around Kharkiv, and you turn left. Go up a few kilometers. It's on the left.
Those are the words spoken by somebody who's been there. I mean,
turn left by the big elm, drive down to the third mailbox on the right.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So I wanted to,
you got it.
I want to comment on
One thing.
Something. You said,
yeah.
You said 500,000. That's casualties, not killed, correct?
Yes, I can.
Yes. It's wounded plus killed.
Right. So bearing in mind that the typical ratios we're seeing out of the Russians is about for every 1 killed, you have 2 wounded, then what we're looking at is somewhere in the vicinity of 165-ish thousand killed. And for comparison, for the viewership in the US anyway, our combined casualties from the Korean War, Vietnam War, the Gulf War, the global war on terror amount to about 101,000 killed. And that's, basically almost 3/4 of a century of wars. And these guys did it in 2 years.
Which is beautiful. I really, really hope to see.
Oh, I agree. But I mean, think of the social impact that must have.
Yeah, absolutely. I would also like to mention several things. So the other day, I met Georgie in Berlin. We met on weekend, and we had not reenactment, basically like reenactment of first episode of Eating with Starsky. It's a new show that will you guys will see very, very.
It was eating
soon.
Too much with Starsky.
Eating too much with guys. The leftovers would be enough to feed like my platoon. Okay, back in my days. So it was fantastic, and we went to this Ukrainian restaurant. Yes, we're talking about food because, guys, we always talk about food.
That evolved really fast.
It almost, we almost never get out of a Saturday show without having a food conversation. It is tradition here.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, I hope it's not mukbang to that level of content for eating. If you're familiar with that.
So it was really cool. Another thing I saw in Berlin, so we went to this museum of Stasi. Stasi was basically analog of KGB/FSB. Basically, it was a security agency in Eastern Germany. And this security agency, what they did was basically what KGB did, which is like repressing political opponents and things like that. So we were in the very building where this Stasi was located. And one interesting thing, the likeness, so basically it was like a clone of KGB. It was cloned from KGB. KGB were their supervisors, they were advisors, and they built Stasi from scratch, right? So one very, very interesting thing was not only, like those Soviet corridors and those like carpets and wooden stuff, that I remember since I was like 4 years old, and I saw that shit in, like, my father's military base and yada yada. But one interesting thing was memories of witnesses and victims of Stasi who told audience about, their methods of harassing people, bullying people. It's like, for example, there's a pastor and he has a wife. And because pastor is a religious person and he's like political opponent of the Communist Party, of course. So in order to make him like a bit busier with other things, right, other than his everyday duties, Stasi sent a letter, a fake letter from a lover of his wife, and basically this shit ruins families.
Wow.
and they do stuff like that. And there were like educational books in Stasi, so in their classes for their spies, for their agents, they were teaching how to harass people, how to psychologically harass people and repress them this way, which is something so freaking amazing. Why I'm talking about this? Because Stasi was basically like a daughter of KGB, which is nowadays known as FSB.
Yeah.
That's absolutely the same, and they do the same nowadays. There is an organization out there that literally does like despicable shit, ruining people's lives, conducting terrorist acts in Europe, around the world. And who are they if they are not terrorists? The reason I started talking about this is because there are other, not rumors already, that's an information from our military intelligence that Russians soon will launch a bunch of different platforms in social media. There will be pro-Russian bloggers that are currently being trained by Russian PSYOP specialists, by Russian propagandists, and they will be speaking in different languages, of course, English language, other languages of the European Union, and yada yada. And soon we will face a new wave of the Russian informational warfare that will, like, in my opinion, that is something very, very dangerous, something that we should be prepared for. Recently, I noticed a growing number of commentaries, which I think like connected to this news update, right? I noticed a bunch of commentaries, like different commentators saying, why do you keep calling Russian soldiers terrorists? They are soldiers. They are like, okay, they may be war criminals, but they're not terrorists. And I believe that it's a good indication that this campaign already started, because one of the things they pursue is improving the image of Russian,
and it's
Federation.
They plant a seed, baby steps, let it grow. It's very well done, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that Russians can plan from like long-term perspective. So very, very soon we will see that. Of course, we know that Russians are officially terrorists. They were recognized as terrorist regime by Parliamentary Assembly of European Council in October 2022, and later in November 2022 by NATO Assembly. So they are officially terrorists, like ISIS, like Taliban, and they can be easily called terrorists officially. Nobody will sue you for that, guys, and you will be correct. It's not like hate speech. You're retranslating the official information, right? So that's the thing, guys. I think I can shut up now and finish my ice cream, and the guys can talk instead of me. It was, by the way, it was really, really cool to see Georgie offline. It's always cool to see friends. We also saw one of our viewers, one of our friends. Unfortunately, he didn't mention his name, but it was for the first time I got recognized in Germany, and
Cool.
I think it's a good sign because Georgie was with me, and this brave man is subscribed to our both channels, and it was a big pleasure and honor to me personally. I'm sure for Georgie too, to see one of our viewers offline. It was incredible. Okay, I shut up.
Well, I wanted
It's
to.
unfortunately.
But Starsky, actually, with what you said, I mean, it's not just in Europe. I came across a thing with one of my Ukrainian friends sent it to me. The Russian embassy here in South Africa did a stream with the cringiest of the cringiest, like weird Afrikaans YouTube channel. You can basically describe them as the Afrikaans version of MAGA. Okay. And they had an interview with the Russian ambassador to South Africa, and it was just propaganda. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I kind of want to debunk all of this. And I'm like, but at the same time, replying to this is going to give them like more airtime.
It extends the
making
platform.
a post about this.
right?
Yeah, making a post about this and like tagging the video and being like, this was discussed, here's me debunking it, is going to be, and like linking the video and debunking it is just going to like
Right.
make it so much worse. But I was like, guys, come on. One of the best parts was Russia is a big country, but they're not a colonizer. And there was also a video that popped up. There's also a video that popped up from a Russian chick on TikTok. You saw it,
I saw
Slavi.
that video.
You saw it.
Terrible.
She's like, Russia has never colonized anyone, and the indigenous people of Russia live in like perfect harmony. I'm like, if you never colonized
my
anyone,
God.
why would you categorize people as indigenous people?
Okay. Well, I'm bringing out the
But-
goat. Hold on.
Yeah.
The hell, man.
Yana, I hear you. Okay, so because it was an interview with a Russian ambassador, you can definitely dedicate your time and attract attention to this. There is like, it's literally from a standpoint of a communication specialist. If it's somebody big with like millions of views or at least hundreds of thousands of views, of course you can debunk that. The more people you attract to this topic, the better in this case, because your information matters. In case it's a loser with merely 10,000 subs or views, yes, in this case it doesn't matter at all. I remember there was a video I made about Dave Smith, like this American clown, in bad sense clown. He's a bad clown, who talked at oh my God, Joe Rogan's show, and because his interview was viewed by like millions of people, I decided to make a response and tell why this dumb fuck is full of shit.
Yeah.
And basically he made a reply, and he's like attempted to explain why Ukraine provoked Russia, why it's justified to invade Ukraine, why Ukraine must be forgotten by like Westerners and shit like that. And then his viewers, of course, wanted us to debate, but the problem is my video was viewed 200,000 times. His video was viewed merely 20,000 times. And I dude, like Seriously. So
Step
that's the
off and
thing. Of
step
course,
back and watch how it's done, motherfucker.
yeah. One thing about Dave Smith, like literally, if there are some fans of Dave Smith here in the chat, like which I doubt because he looks like he's ridiculous. My skits are better, even though they suck. In his video, he was talking about like warmongers, people who earn money because of war and people suffering. At the same time, in like 10-minute video, he had like 10 paid advertisements, and the question is, who the fuck is warmonger? Dude, you just earned like $10,000 on the topic of Ukrainian suffering. So that's the thing. So that's the idea. If there's a big audience, of course you can attract attention. If there's a small meager audience, let it be just forgotten and banished.
And remember,
and
if you're watching
the
this
thing.
horrible troll content just for a giggle now and then, make sure you have your ad blocker on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That matters a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that was the thing that we were looking at, because the Russian embassy only has like 437 subscribers on YouTube. And this other account where they were on, they have 21,000 subscribers on YouTube, and the actual video has about 4,000 views. So at the same time, you're like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
You know, like, are we just gonna give them more airtime?
Here, let's.
But at the same time, it is like a Russian ambassador, you know.
Yeah, but let's turn over to Georgijs here. Trolls and positions and people on the internet and stuff. You've had a few here and there, and had to position on this kind of stuff. Should people be even engaging for the giggles,
We talked about this with Starsky, actually, which is interesting. Like, it was one of our bigger discussions that we had during our dinner. And I think, and this is where we need to give a shout out and props to the NAFO movement. And NAFO movement is basically, they decoded how propaganda works. It's because for over 10 years, Ukraine has been struggling what to do with the Russian propaganda since 2014 and everything, because Russian propaganda was very deep, and there is still, unfortunately, remnants of it that fetishizes all things Russian, despite not being able to name or put a finger what exactly they mean when they actually pressed for it. And the one that actually decoded it and was able to fight it was the NAFO guys. So that the point of fighting propaganda is not the engagement of propaganda, is the delusion of message. So once something that appeared on Shitter, then they posted some kind of a mixed message propaganda, like it usually does, some kind of a 60-70% of truth,
right,
and then like 30% of a diluted message to kind of inject you to that shit. Like, I'm not talking about like 100% propaganda posts. They usually are kind of for internal consumptions, like when people just if they're already diluted, they're just going to send it itself, this is like the internal, and it's like internal memes.
Yeah,
but when we're
talking about like strategically
influence,
done to start forming opinions to be more acceptive and stuff, right?
Correct. And at that moment, like when NAFO just kind of came in, exploded, and then specifically because how the shitter is set up, so you have this main post, and then you have like a comment section. And usually the comment section, because it's a short message format, so there is a lot of other messages that appear even if it's a longer message thread. So when NAFO, these cartoon dogs started, for people that don't know, NAFO is a movement on Twitter, now X, combined Shitter, is where people just substituted their profile images for a cartoon dog, and they went after the propaganda, and they started just posting memes. They started posting like complete nonsense. They started posting like, oh, you're just attacking the messenger, saying, oh, you're just a propaganda troll. This is, look at you, you're just leaking Russian toilets and whatever. So the point was not the messages that they delivered. The point is that they diluted any kind of seriousness that there was present about the message. So that 30% of kind of seriousness, whatever, was diluted by the slew of basically just this white noise of absolutely irrelevant posts that are just funny, and a lot of people just focused on what was funny rather than what was actually in the prime message. And it was working. It is working. Unfortunately, it's not being able to be scaled or used as a proper way on other platforms. So, but my policy since then is I cannot fight it. Ukraine has not been able to fight it in any structured manner since 2014. So on my channel specifically, I don't engage. I just delete. My point always is not how much trolls do and how much I try to fight them. It's more about, right, rather than being reactionary, it's more about what do I do to make sure that Ukraine wins? Like, what am I contributing? Like, instead of me making like 10 videos bitching about what people said to me in comments, I rather say like, okay, this is another fundraiser that we're doing. Let's do this. This is cool. Look at what Ukrainians are doing, and kind of instead do the counter promotion.
Those are good words, man. I wholeheartedly agree. You got a great way of really making sure your point is clear too. Very good. Slavi, I wanted to turn to you on the whole idea of propaganda and whatnot. You're in LA, you're, mixing with people, working and this and that. On the personal side, in real life, do you see any signs of like the average person in LA being very susceptible to this?
Well, first we have to get people to watch the news, at least from what I see here in LA. And that has been my focus, was to deliver news about Ukraine. So that's very, very important. What I have seen recently in terms of propaganda is about Zelensky being a dictator. That was a huge push this week. So we definitely have to combat that because that's not true. Elections are illegal during martial law in Ukraine. So that's something that I keep telling people that honestly don't know, that just repeat Russian propaganda because, it is good. So just calmly, I have to explain, even to my friends, that this is the law. We cannot. And but Ukrainians are such democratic people. I mean, we're fighting for freedom.
Yeah.
So, if we wouldn't want Zelensky, he wouldn't be the president.
Right.
Right. He is the voice of the Ukrainian people.
He's so good at it too.
In the international wide, like, he is very, very good. I know a lot of Ukrainians have been debating, but for the international causes, he's excellent.
You were very diplomatic there. You were like, international wise, yes, you were very diplomatic there.
Well, I know Ukrainians have been fighting over that recently as well. I personally don't think it adds to the cause, but free speech. Everybody has a voice, and listen to Ukrainians because Zelensky, end of the day, is the voice of Ukrainians. So, yeah.
I think this is something that a lot of people don't realize is that Russian propaganda changed after the fall of the USSR and has been evolving ever since. Prior to that, the message was almost universally one of translating everything into fear. You will obey us because we will kill you if you don't. Nowadays, a lot of what they're doing is actually sowing chaos and confusion so that you can't trust the news. That's why I think a lot of Americans don't pay attention to the news anymore, because they don't know what's real and what isn't. And that's a focused effort on the part of the FSB and the GRU to make us doubt our own institutions, not just in the US, but across the globe. And by doing that, it allows their proxy, other authoritarian movements in other countries to gain traction.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree with that.
So I wanted to check in, Greg. You're very much, finger on the pulse and whatnot. I know that there's news and happenings that you're going to definitely want to get in and sound off on. So what's on your mind here?
Well, on my mind, I would make it very simple. You know, everybody talking that do not understand the Kremlin and the Tsarist regime. We're so pumped up because Vova is talking about a peace plan. Even if it is the Turkish one, we're talking about a peace plan. That's on Friday. Everybody's rejoicing. And on Saturday, we blow up the epicenter. So that's all you need to know, guys. That's all you need to know. If lips are moving in the Kremlin, disregard it and go the opposite. There's going to be no negotiations. There's going to be no peace accords coming. This is only moving down a very unique path of getting deeper. And the more the saber rattling happens from the West, and, you know, you have Lithuania talking to Goncharenko in Lithuania talking. Goncharenko is the deputy that is the independent party out of Odessa. And I really appreciate him. His ability to communicate in English is very good, especially for the rest of the world to see. And his communication, very concise. He's the representative to the European ambassador, European Council.
He's also full of shit.
Huh?
He's also full of shit.
He's speaking English and saying the right thing.
No, he's talking a lot of good things, but there are plenty.
Personally,
huh?
I know him personally.
So chaos.
I can
chaos and confusion.
Yes, I can sort out. And it's like so. Yeah. Goncharenko, he has a very strong political campaign. Now he has been very good at promoting Ukraine. Like I don't know that. Like he has been.
Oh, just so you know, that's my point, though. That's the publication Ukraine needs that nobody else does. That's my point.
Fair enough. Agreed with the point. Agreed. Yeah. I'm just saying that there are certain things that Goncharenko can be trusted. There are certain things that Goncharenko cannot be trusted. So most importantly, when it's about reporting about things that are happening on Ukraine, when it's promotion of Ukraine, when it's promotion for what's happening and so on, it's good. As soon as he starts trying to analyze and discuss the situation about what Zelensky does, what Zelensky should be doing, what kind of political movements should be dominant in Ukraine, at that moment, everything breaks down. He has a very strong agenda. He has been extremely dishonest in Ukrainian politics. And there is a lot of people on Ukrainian side that probably, if needed, I mean, I cannot bring them along because they are probably right now in fighting. But there are a lot of points that can be made against specifically what Goncharenko has been doing.
Okay, hang on. Let me finish here on this one. I don't disagree with that at all. He's out of Poroshenko's party, and then he went independent. I know him well. The problem is
he's also been in party of the regions.
Some of the stuff he calls out is accurate, though. That's the problem. You have Zelensky coming out with all these numbers, and the regiments are full, and we're rolling, and the artillery's there. And then 3 days later, Zelensky's changing his tune. Our brigades are empty. And I'm not supporting what Goncharenko does internally inside Ukraine, but the voice that he gives outside of Ukraine in English, so that people can understand the reality of the need in Ukraine, I think is a voice that needs to be heard, and it's not heard enough in the English language. Internal policies has nothing to do with the world. I'm just talking about representing the need for Ukraine in English. It's vitally important. And outside of Ukraine, the man does a good job repping the need inside Ukraine. What he's doing inside Ukraine, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Greg, I was talking about the same thing when it comes to Zelensky. As we know, international support is very, very important, and they both do an excellent job at communicating that. So,
absolutely, that's the point being. There has, you've got Starsky, you and Georgie are in here. We're all doing our parts, but the reality is, we need those type of guys speaking English nonstop.
This is actually very interesting to me because I'm not as familiar with this individual, but I'm loving this conversation, particularly because we don't usually talk a lot about internal social movements and politics in Ukraine. So I
Well,
find it very,
I'm very passionate
yeah.
about this right now because I'm in the process of losing now thousands of my personal friends on the zero line. So I know the real numbers. And when I hear crap that this brigade is full of 500 soldiers and there's 87 there, I know the truth. And when 50 are killed and then 11 are resupplied, and Kyiv is saying we resupplied. No, you lost 50 heroes and you resupplied it with 11 people that are not even trained. So it's time to tell the truth so that Ukraine can receive the help it needs. And Ukraine eventually is going to need boots on the ground, period.
I would agree.
So
there.
I'm gonna tell you real quick about the political situation in Ukraine, right? Because Georgie started this topic, and I absolutely love it. So there was Poroshenko. It was a president who became a president before Zelensky, right? Right after dictator Yanukovych fled to Russia. Poroshenko himself was a freaking formerly he was in the Zayedinu Ukrainu party, which was party of President Kuchma, which later became party of region, pro-Russian party, and Poroshenko was part of it, of course. Long story short, everybody were members of suspicious forces. And then everybody got enlightened, and they fucking fight each other because this is what we do in Ukraine all the time before the full-scale invasion. This is what we did and enjoy it. I'm sure people in Poland do that every single day. Basically, we have to have right to criticize freaking everybody. Zelensky, Poroshenko, Honcharenko. I love Honcharenko because he's wearing proper underwear. One time he was streaming and people noticed that he was wearing tie and panties. I'm wearing similar brand as well. I freaking love them. Yeah. At the same time, he was in the party of regions. He was with Yanukovych. After Yanukovych fled, he realized that, oh shit, we gotta do something, and he condemned the crimes at the Maidan, of course, which was a proper thing to do, right? He's a professional politician. You can respect that, you can hate that. Poroshenko is professional politician. You can respect that, you can hate that.
Well,
there's a lot of
I think that they go hand in hand for a professional politician, respect and hate, right? That's just how it works.
Absolutely. So what we see here is we see parties like servants of people, the president's party. We see Poroshenko's party, European Solidarity. We see them fighting against Russians in English language on the international stage, which is great. We see them fighting internally against each other, which is again great, because this is how democracy is made. This is how people evolve, right? So this is usual everyday's life in Ukraine. Everybody fights everybody and criticizes everybody, but this is the progress. This is how evolution works, right? You cannot have one party, or otherwise you turn into a freaking Russia or North Korea, right? That's just my opinion. I'm not a political expert. I'm just a humble former military and a communication specialist. So I hope you've learned something new. If not,
that you can have your opinion.
Yes.
So what I like about being former military is that I can say shit about all kinds of people now, but I don't.
Well, I think what is important to know, I don't care who it is, if the message isn't getting out there right now at a very critical time where we're already 6 and 7 months behind, and due to the lack of supply of weapons for that long, it has put us a step down and it has hurt us significantly. It can be recovered from, but anybody that is out there pumping reality about the war, pumping reality about the terror, we have to support their voice externally from Ukraine. We have to have it right now.
Yeah, very much.
I agree on
I've
that.
I've got a situation brewing upstairs, and I have to do a couple of minutes of parenting. So, Greg, you're in charge, and I'll be right back.
Oh God, Dick, thank you. Sakai, you wanted
Don't
to
let
jump
the power
in
go
there,
to your head.
and guys, don't worry. Georgie and I love each other. We're actually agreeing
Oh, no.
on certain topics.
No, I'm just always feel free to speak my mind, and
Absolutely, I do too. It's good. That's exactly what Starsky was talking about there. This is how you learn and you grow. And this is opposite of what's happening in Moscow. So Sakai, I think we interrupted you there, buddy. Sorry.
Oh, all good, all good. Actually, I wanted to briefly expand on the topic of domestic Ukrainian politics, and I was going to ask Starsky because he would probably be the most familiar with the current parties that are part of the opposition in the Verkhovna Rada. Like you mentioned, European Solidarity. I know there's two others. The I'm gonna mess up the pronunciation. Batkivshina and Holos. And I guess how
is Batkivshina still active?
Yes, dude, she's still alive and she's wearing leather pants still.
Well, what I was going to ask is, these three groups, these three parties, are they? Would you say they're more similar or drastically different, and just have certain things that align? Because I'm only mostly familiar with European Solidarity.
I remember in 2008 there was presidential election in the United States, and people were deciding between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, and I asked people like, "So, what's your choice?" And they were like, "What's the difference?"
Right. Yeah.
Like there's no difference. It's the same stuff. Like whoever you elect is the same stuff. Barack, Hillary, like it's the same. So
you mean for the Democratic nominee, Starsky?
Yeah. So in Ukraine, it's absolutely the same. So Solidarity, as well as Holos, as well as oh my God, Batkivshina. I know good people, Batkivshina. I know people that suck in Batkivshina. Yulia Tymoshenko, she was like iconic politician in Ukraine. Everybody laughs at her when she came to Maidan on a wheelchair, wearing high heels. It was
it was after she was it after she was freed or not? Because wasn't she imprisoned on Maidan?
She was.
She was. One of the reasons why Maidan was Maidan was because we wanted to liberate her, even though we despised her, even though we didn't trust her. But she was a political prisoner of Yanukovych, and that's why we wanted to see her free. Whatever she is, it doesn't matter to us if she's like if she sucks as a politician, if you're like all those manipulations, they were so visible to people, but she was a political prisoner. We wanted to set her free. Holos, I would trust Holos more. First of all, because Okean Elzy is a kick-ass band. I'm sure Greg will agree with me. So this party was organized by frontman of Okean Elzy, Sviatoslav Vakarchuk, who was elected in the parliament, I believe 2 or 3 times. Every single time he would just go. He would go like, I'm an artist, this is not my shit, goodbye, and he would go. But he did something really cool. He organized all those people. I know quite a few of them, quite a few of worthy people, right? People I can trust in Holos. Then Solidarity, of course, I know quite a lot of people in Solidarity, but do I know people who are like corruptionists in those parties? Of course I do. That's why it's like I believe there are corruptionists in any party of the world, all right, unless it's like Dalai Lama, because they don't recognize money. So that's the situation. Those parties still exist. They are oppositionists, but they are not pro-Russian. The only pro-Russian movement that was consolidated, that was very strong, which was OPZZ, United Platform for Life. Nowadays, most of their representatives are either like Russian collaborationists, or like Russian reporters, or Russian influencers. I cannot call them pro-Russian because they are literally like Russian. Okay, so they were banned. They were completely banned because like they don't have right to exist in Ukraine. Ukraine is fighting against Russian invaders. We don't have right to have Russian parties in Ukraine. We have right to have Russian battalions in Ukraine, like Russian freedom fighters. Those guys I admire.
And Orthodox Church.
Orthodox Church, that's another shit, and we're dealing with it because like
sorry,
okay.
I said it because last time it triggered Starsky that he went on like half an hour rant about it, so I just couldn't hold myself.
George is just here to trigger Starsky. I figured you out now. You're just here to trigger people.
Okay, I as a former military. As a former military and former law enforcement dude, okay, because I served in police, I served in National Guard, which is law enforcement, basically. You cannot say those guys, they are terrorists, okay, because similar guys did some crazy shit, okay. We live in the society that obeys law, and law works like this. The dude did some shit, okay, you have to gain evidence, get the dude, put him into jail. This is how it works. We did that many times with Russians. There's already almost 200,000 criminal cases opened against Russian invaders. Guys, this number is fucking insane. The Russian army is approximately 800,000 orcs, okay, which committed 200,000 fucking crimes. And yes, of course, among those crimes are crimes like striking malls with missiles, right? But we're talking about thousands cases, not like hundreds of thousands cases, right? So among 4 Russians, 1 did some kind of crime in Ukraine. Every 4th Russian either raped somebody or killed somebody or snatched a toilet from a ruined house or a conditioner. Each 4th Russian committed crimes. This is the approximate number. I'm sure that the number is much bigger because, again, yes, I'm biased Ukrainian, but I know Russians. But that's the number. I don't know if you have any statistics about, for example, American army in like Iraq or Vietnam, about, for example, their number of crimes, because of course there are different people everywhere, right? But I'm sure that it was like 1 in 1,000, maybe. Okay, I can be wrong.
I think you're lying, Starsky, because every single Russian that was able to escape Russian military and came to Europe has said that they killed absolutely no one and they did absolutely no crimes. So I think your statistics are screwed.
Yeah, absolutely. At the same time,
there was that one guy that they quote from Wagner.
Oh yeah, because he made a book and then earned a lot of money on it.
But it was all for the book. Okay, it was all for the book. And the upcoming Netflix special, I'm sure that's gonna come.
Oh right,
at
the Netflix.
Point.
Yes.
Yeah, but why we started talking about Wagner and crimes is because we should act according to law. Currently, what we see almost every week, some pro-Russian fuck wearing Pope's robe is being arrested. because there are evidence that confirm that he did some crazy shit. Okay, he either justified Russian invasion, or he called people to collaborate with Russians, or he called people to, you know, do things like that. So basically calling for treason. And they are being arrested and put to jail. And this is how we should do with all the criminals, because, guys, yeah, there are emotions, there are feelings, there's law. I completely support only one dictatorship, is a dictatorship of law for everybody.
Love it, man. That's why we call the Hope Train on my channel. So what I would say about Tymoshenko is her hair. I loved her hair, the way she could wrap it around. And that's what always will be memorable for me with Tymoshenko. Additionally, speaking about the Russian Orthodox Church, just really quickly, I've got a piece I'm going to be showing here probably next week. It's the leader there in Belgorod who is counseling a lady to go poison her husband. And I put the whole thing in English there in the service. So it's really interesting to see the inside. But speaking about the Russian Orthodox Church, my guys in Ukraine just sent me this from Belgorod, where you can go to the Orthodox Church and for a certain price, you can buy the proper icon. So for 960 rubles, you can buy the cross and it will enhance the body protection of the soldier. For 210 rubles, you can buy the pin of the Archangel Michael, which will increase your accuracy. You can buy a sacred water vessel for 1,370 rubles that when you're wounded, you pour it on it and it will heal your wound. You can also buy a belt that has a prayer and the cross on it for 3,050 rubles, which gives you a shield against drones on the battlefield. And there is a banner you can purchase for your unit with the image of Fedor Ushakov for 1,500 rubles, which will increase the morale of your unit. So this is legit, guys. On the wall
I am
of
sorry.
the Russian
Greg,
Orthodox
Greg,
Church.
This really sounds like one of those like a PC game where
It's like a video game.
it's
exactly.
like a video game where you're like
Yeah,
buy
but they're
morale
selling them.
points. Like
There was a video that came out with a Russian Orthodox priest just giving an interview. And this woman, he was saying that this woman came to him and saying that she's sick of her husband. I need help.
Mhm.
And he says, kill him.
Yeah, he said that's the one I translated, Slavi, and I'm gonna show it. Yeah, he's in fact told her how to go poison him.
Yep.
It's
Greg,
nuts.
Greg, two things. One, I'm gonna need a link to that because I've got a few people who, if I share that with them, they'll have a lot to say about it.
please
All right,
send it to me too.
And two, man, only related in a bit in that I consider both to be very evil organizations. But what that reminds me of is for anyone who's familiar with narco subculture regarding the war on drugs throughout North and South America, it reminds me of stuff like candles and effigies for Jesus Malverde and other narco saints that people who are involved in that lifestyle, sometimes buy before they go on missions and stuff for cartels. It's really a heinous and horrific form of capitalizing on religious iconography.
Dick, this is your associate reporting back in. Are you back in the anchor chair?
I am.
I would just like to report two things before I turn the reins back over to you, since you christened me with the icon of second and tier leadership that you purchased from the Russian Orthodox Church in Belgorod. I would like to report to you that Rick Ukrainian in here asked the question, Greg, how are the snatches going? They're going awesome, Rick. Hopefully within weeks, they're going to be there in Lviv and I'll be there to grab them and away to the front we go. So thank you. The export process, as you know, it takes time, but it's in process. That's rolling along fine. We did some more paperwork on Friday, actually, with our NGO in Ukraine, our NGO here, and the middle people there in UK and Poland. So that's all good. Additionally, somebody in the chat, I saw it going by quickly, has nicknamed Georgie Betty Crocker because he's like a crock pot. He's been in here stirring up trouble between me and Starsky. So all I want you to know is that Georgie's been a very bad boy in class today. No, it's been awesome. So no, we've had a great conversation, Dick, and the reins are back to you.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just have
That's
a
awesome.
question. Greg, what area was this this advert or like this notification from the Russian Orthodox Church from
Belgorod.
Belgorod.
Yeah, that picture right there is bonkers.
I wanted just really quick add one my memory about Yulia Tymoshenko, because I know her since like 2001 probably. 2002 she went out of jail and she organized this big protest action called Povstanie Ukraina, Rise Up Ukraine. Okay, and she went on stage. I was there, of course, because like I was a very, very politically active person back in the days. And she went on stage wearing leather pants and leather jacket. And I was a young, naive 20-year-old boy, right? I didn't see things like that in my life. And I was like staring at her. And she was like on the stage wearing those leather pants that were, man, they were tight. Okay, they were very, very tight. And I was looking at her, and I'm like, shit, I would vote for her. Yeah. So that's my memory about Yulia Tymoshenko. Of course, she was hot as hell, but oh my god,
Okay, Starsky,
I know so much shit about her.
I've got to be completely honest with you. In 2004, in the Orange Revolution, I was in Khmelnytsky, and I was there doing some things. And the local television channel there, Podillia, it was at Podillia TV Center. I'll never forget it. Said, "Okay, you're an American. You're here. You've been working here forever. Just come in for our evening news, and we just want to ask you just your thoughts about what's going on in our country, because we like you, Greg." So I was there. I went on the TV, had my orange thing on, and they ran this video of Tymoshenko before it started. And I'm sitting there going, and that's when I was first starting to learn about Tymoshenko. And I was, hey, I'm married and kids, everybody's happy. I'm a pastor, and I'm looking at her going, man, she's hot. I mean, I had a crush on Tymoshenko. So sorry, I'm with you on that, Starsky.
We all have
so
that,
we're
okay?
discovering now.
Yeah, all the
Georgie,
all
you
the
have
boys in
completely
Ukraine.
destroyed us.
Yeah.
You
All
even
the
got our
boys in Ukraine
buckchuck
had-
raccoon all excited now. Look at him go.
But my favorite politician is, of course, Oleg Lyashko. Oleg Lyashko, I'm not sure if you... Okay, Georgie knows what I'm talking about, is the guy who... He's like, look at this. This is Ukrainian soil. It's so good. I would fucking eat it. And he starts like eating the soil. Like,
this sounds like the Ukrainian equivalent of American libertarians when they do their crazy shit.
Kinda, yeah. So that dude is amazing. Okay, he's funny as fuck. And the other day he added me on Facebook before the invasion. We were making review for different MREs. And we made a review for Ukrainian MRE made in Ukraine by a private company. And the dude watched our video and he was like, oh, so I decided to make a review myself. I'm like, oh, fuck. And he's like, I want to say thank you to those guys who did this review and brought my attention to this. I'm like, don't fucking mention my name, please. And he mentions the name of my I'm like, oh, yeah, it was so it was really cringy. Like, if you want to have your image and reputation completely destroyed, you have to get like on oh my god, Mr. Oleg, if you see this video, like, I'm just joking, I'm a very funny guy. Yeah, so anyways, it was really funny. It was a cool experience. I made sure I never touched Oleg Lyashko because it's a bad fortune.
Dick, I sent you a picture because people in the chat are going, who is this Tymoshenko chick that Starsky and PG think are hot? So
on it.
Yeah, I sent it to you in WhatsApp.
Okay. 1 second here, everybody. Also, we have a video that Starsky sent over that we have to show everybody as well. Here, so let me get this one up. Here's Chicky Mabobber. Let me just get that.
You gotta show her wearing. You gotta show her wearing, like, I don't know, leather pants. I
gotta
tried.
say,
We need her in heavy
hair-
metal mode.
I was gonna say her hair reminds me of a cinnamon bun.
I don't think she ever took it
Ah.
down. It's always been like that.
It's not cinnamon bun, it's kulich.
Yeah. Or challah, maybe.
Anyway,
So,
I have a couple of notes here.
Mm.
Can I quickly go through
please,
them?
please,
Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry. It's like I know it's mostly funny stuff, but yeah. So
Oh,
actually,
anything goes. Anything goes. Yeah.
I'm gonna shorten it down to two. So point number one, we talked at the start of the show about the casualty numbers for Russians, and while in general it is 1 to 2 casualty, where it's like 1 dead to 2 wounded, it's also worth noting that the Russian medicine is complete dog shit, and a lot of their light and medium.
That's why
wounded,
it is that way.
Yeah, and a lot of their light to medium wounded are pretty much not non-available.
Yeah.
Well, maybe light wounded, okay, but medium pretty much non-existent. It all goes down into completely disabled. So there's a huge skew in that wounded category.
The standard NATO ratio is 3 to 1 as opposed to 2 to 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And
that's why you have to buy the Archangel Michael token from.
Okay, no, I'm
Belgorod.
making it
Right.
3 again. I'm making it 3 again. So it's like since Greg cannot. So if you ever been to like Ukraine, Belarus, or Russia, you know that the cars must have 3 icons. Like it's a mandatory. It's a mandatory thing. Like every car must have. So, and a lot of the Russian cars, well, especially their own produced, they actually have special places for them, and sometimes you can buy it even at the car dealership. So, just to kind of put it in a perspective, and then the last point was with regard to. Oh no, I lost it. Never mind.
Like driving in India, how many Ganeshes can you get on the dashboard?
and everybody has a gold-plated Kleenex box in the back window of the car.
Yeah.
I've forgotten that. Yes.
So the last point was also, by the way, to Greg, and then I'm going to shut up. So Greg said, like, we need to look at the realities and everything, and that the situation at Frontline is hard, and everyone agrees. But this comment is so good. It's like, yes, but Russia came in with 200,000 troops to the start of the war. We're going to capture Ukraine, and then 500,000 guys later, we're about to capture half of Vovchansk.
Yeah.
Completely agree with you 1,000,000%, Georgie. Completely. Yes, you're right. There's one thing for sure, and I know Starsky knows this better than anybody. But when a Ukrainian soldier is fully trained and with their natural talents and ingenuity, and I mean that with all politeness, respect, I've witnessed it thousands of times over. They can fix anything out of nothing. They can make anything out of nothing. It's such a creative talent. There is a reason, guys, that Ukrainians are employed globally, programming the world systems that the systems of the world run on. These are facts. They're ingenious. So if we could just supply these heroes, they will take care of the job. But we cannot undersupply them. We cannot trickle feed them. Because Georgie's right. The intentions were 200,000 will take care of this, and now it's reality. You have to have a mistake, a rotational mistake, to take a few kilometers towards Locherny, and you have to come up and get advantages that are so overwhelming just to move a few kilometers. That's a tribute to the power of the Ukrainian army and the heroism and the success of the Ukrainian soldiers. So we just need more and more equipment.
The true grit of the people.
Dude,
it's also important to, if you're a Ukrainian supporter, call your representatives. It's so important that Ukraine could strike Russian positions inside Russia. So call your representatives, guys, and tell them.
Yeah. That's a great shout.
My line.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll actually be talking to someone about that exact topic very soon. And I won't name drop them, but specifically talk to your congressman about how Ukraine needs the right to do that and needs it specifically to help in the Kharkiv region. It is important. Details matter.
I would also like to add to that politicians, please listen right now. If the big bully keeps threatening you with a big stick, what you do is you gather up all your buddies and go and kick the shit out of them. Let's stop this meander, and whatnot. Because the simple fact is, if everybody bands together, and I mean country-wise, we could just simply wipe the scourge off the map if we wanted to. Never mind bowing down to other people's BS. Enough.
I think that people in the West, Canadians, Americans, let's just say Europeans, Americans, if you reside in Asia or Australia, wherever you are in the world, if you're part of the series of countries who work together for democratic values, for human rights, for opposing authoritarianism, whether it be far right or far left,
Slava
in
Africa
any
is just
flavor.
left out of Sekai's speech, but okay.
Sorry. Well, Africa too. Africa has actually several countries I would consider in the preliminary stages of moving in that direction.
I'll say. Let me just say one thing because I know we'll move to a different.
Tread lightly.
No, a different topic. No, actually, it's serious. It's about what Slavi said and what everybody's talking about a little bit right now. Contacting your representative, have the ability to strike into Russia. So after the strike today in Kharkiv, okay. 1,000,000% civilian. And then right now we have Tupolev 95s in the air coming out of Volhynia, which is up way north of St. Petersburg. And we have Tu-95s coming out of the Caspian region with arrivals expected in Ukrainian airspace between 4:30 and 5:20 a.m. Okay, so if there is a massive missile strike today or in a few hours after the strike on Kharkiv, that may be the thing that pushes some world leaders over the edge to say, start slinging them. You know, I don't want that to happen. So. They need to do it regardless. But
it could be a
24 hours of hell inside Ukraine right now that may flip the switch. I mean, time will tell. But, you know, this could just be up to throw the air raid up to terrorize people for hours and they land them. But we have to pay attention to it.
Yeah. Well, all I was going to say is I feel like the free people of the world need a reminder of something from almost 100 years ago now, in less than a decade, I think. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. And listen, the fear that is currently rampant, whether it be at the level of politicians, or I speak with friends who do know a thing or two about Ukraine, and they tell me that they're afraid of nuclear war. You know, they still are echoing the fear propaganda from Russia.
Yep.
You know, I tell them we're in a Cold War right now. And if you know anything about the 70s, if you know anything about the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and about the Soviet Union, then we need to have the same steadfast, fearless attitude, or
you're damn right.
A Cold War, the West will lose.
Yes,
I'm going to take a run here for a minute and get some shout outs in because we've got a lot. I'm going to do this quickly but still try to give everybody their due, you know. So Rose Rowley came in as a Shills apprentice. I think that's a renewal because she's always a member around here. Paul Deberitz there. Again, I think it's a renewal. And then Rose came in with, you guys do really good work. We had Dunk on You 23 with a super chat for Slava Ukraine. Richard Bennett giving out memberships. Apatox came in. Thank y'all for all you do. John Larkin with a good super chat for Starsky. How will they who ran as opposed to men who fought be accepted into Ukrainian society when they come back?
That's a good question. Well, I think everything will be fine because if they come back, you know, the question is if, you know, that's the key word. A lot of people who went abroad and settled anywhere in European countries, Australia, the United States, Canada, that is a big question whether they will return.
Yeah.
So so everything will be fine one way or another.
Yeah.
Again, nobody will everything will be much more simple.
Yeah.
Nobody will ask questions like, where have you been?
Right.
Like,
Good show, man.
Yeah. Again, there will be tough times.
Not everybody's a fighter, but you got families and stuff, and some people just do what they do, and I don't think that anybody needs to be called out for it, right? Why bother?
As a military who served almost 10 years to my country, I fucking think so.
Yeah, man.
Because I also had a family, I also could travel to Canada and drink beer with you, all right?
I can't wait.
But instead of that, I spent 9 fucking years running around, those tree lines like an idiot.
Yeah. Scaring the hell out of me, always making sure, hey, are you there? Hello?
Yeah. There was a fucker who asked yesterday, he removed his comments on my YouTube, but he was like, why are you sitting behind a computer in a safe environment and not fighting on the front line? I'm like, dude, I was fighting there since 2015. Where were you in 2015 where we needed help?
Yeah, who are you to question my dedication?
Like piece of shit, you learned about Ukraine in 2022.
Yeah.
While in 2015, I was already there. Yeah, proudly. Let me
do a few more shout outs here. I gotta try to get caught up. Crazy Cat 1 put in YouTube is being dumb. I put the message in the Discord. Hello to the panel. Lovely to see everybody together. Nulio, Putin, Coolio. I just love that. Every time I try to come up with a funnier sort of strange way to do it. Vatniks keep reporting for me for hate speech on YouTube. I get timeouts. What alternate words are people using for kaboom? Russian bot attack, idiot. I hate when they screw with you. I hope that gets sorted. Dunk on you 23 gifting out memberships. JPen gifting out memberships. Ohms got a call out here. Called out Dave Smith on JRE University. Good one. John Larkin again. Commander McMillan. Why is it we Brits as a flight sergeant in the RAF 3 Squadron Regiment can do shit without officers and everyone else is stopped? Never understood it. Is
without officers and everyone else. What? I didn't understand.
I'll get clarification and we'll come back. Shit means X-flight. So yeah, okay. I think I can rebuild this. We'll come back to it. David N, great show you put together. The Shills and Starsky. Thank you very much. Danny Carver gifting out membership. Jean-Marc Paganel with the super chat. U.S. officer kills spy in news. Comments. Neft Shills NAFO 420 Squadron F-16 with a logo flying high. Okay, yeah, we'll come over to that. Elaine Crossland threw in a super chat. Great panel, Slava Ukraine. Heroium Slava. Ohms comes in. White House phone number is online, but I'm not going to post it here. We got Karen Hensman came in with a super chat. UTV and Ham, please know I appreciate all you do. John Larkin, so the Russians pay to bury their dead. We all do. Pastor, how much does your church ask for a burial? I'm not sure where that's going, but I know that's to our pistol slinging SOB himself. We'll get back to it.
We charge the huge price of zero.
Of fuck all. Okay, yeah. That's kind of how I thought that was going to go. Where am I here? I'm getting close now. I don't even have to scroll anymore. We got Paul D. Welcome to the family. UTV and Ham gifted out memberships. Adrian comes in with a big super chat. Great panel. Keep up the work. Elizabeth rejoins as a member. Yen de Jong, I do believe, a Euro super chat as well. Nothing to fear but fear itself. Oh, yeah. Karen Hensman there again. Have you heard about a disabled woman who was in a wheelchair with her husband, was shot in the head trying to escape? Oh, that's horrible. Liam Wakefield came in. Dr. Dawson, check your Discord DMs. Okay, lot going on, but I will as soon as somebody else takes the floor. Roto Max comes in with a super chat. Great stream, folks. Nice to see you all together. And I got to switch over to here quick. Danny Carver came in on that Buy Me a Coffee. The Shills rocks, but Operator Starsky rules. And then we got Gary R. I'm Canadian, and I give my permission to bomb the shit out of any fucking target in Russia you want with Canadian weapons. I reiterated there and maybe colored it up a bit. And then there was a couple of direct donations that came in as well. I'm trying to find them here. Hold on. We had Cinnamon come in, and Cinnamon dropped in a direct donation. Where's the damn message? Sorry, Cinnamon. I'm freaking trying here. You know what? I'll have to regroup and shuffle and find those last couple ones, because if I don't stop and take a breath, I'm going to freaking pass out.
All I know, Dick, is that I'm watching the chat, and when you asked how much we charge for funerals at my church, and I said 0, it's interesting. Some of the chat's going good. I'm dying at Greg's church. So I guess we're increasing our funeral business for all of you that want to die in northwestern Pennsylvania. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's time to grow old with the pistol swinging preacher himself.
Oh, you're in Pennsylvania. I'm in, bro. Because I have friends there.
Hey,
So
course,
yeah,
Greg's
just
there.
make sure that.
they're good.
Of
They're good
course,
Tuesday.
I was talking about other kind of friends, but in case of what, I'm dying in your church.
please do. And Starsky will bury you with honors. Got a nice place picked out for you.
27
No problem.
rednecks with AR-15 shooting them up.
Don't make me open my
God.
arsenal that's right beside me. And by the way, if you need me to deliver some roses to your friend Starsky, I'll be happy to do it for you.
No, thank you. Because my girlfriend will cut my balls.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure she appreciates that you have them, so that's drastic measures, right?
Man.
Back to the funerals. They're free, and Dick's is next. That's the way it's going.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to know when to shut up and move on. I don't have that ability, so I don't know.
So, Dick, you wanted to try to read into or translate that question?
Oh
for
yeah.
me?
Yeah, I was gonna work on that in the background, but come to think of it, I haven't done that yet. So we'll have to get to that in a minute.
My
I guess.
guesstimate, my guesstimate of what he's trying to say is the British military, or excuse me, their enlisted personnel tend to have longer term service as they advance up. In the U.S., enlisted promotion tends to come at a fairly rapid pace because we're trying to retain them. So they keep offering them, incremental things. So you end up with kind of the officer allegedly has to provide oversight over everybody to make sure that, they really know what they're doing. And it's not until somebody gets to about the E6 level that we really fully trust them to do things.
Okay.
And in the British military, they put a lot of faith and trust in the fairly junior enlisted. So like corporal is considered to be a relatively important guy within the rank structure there.
I thought they were the guy with the rag and the cleaning supplies.
In the U.S. military, to some extent, that's true. But the flip side is, having worked with the Coast Guard a fair amount, the Coast Guard uses a system that's very similar to the British one because they entrust their enlisted personnel with a lot of responsibility fairly early on. And it's different. And it's, I think, one of the reasons that you get kind of this skeptical view of the Coast Guard by a lot of people in the other uniform branches.
You gotta have balls of steel to be in the American Coast Guard with the drug dealers and everything they got to deal with and stuff. I mean, wow.
Or some of the conditions they have to go out to sea in to rescue people.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. One of the Coast Guard officers I served with had gotten their equivalent of like the Navy Cross, which is just below Medal of Honor.
Wow.
For the stuff he had to do on the ship he was chief engineer on during if you've seen the movie The Perfect Storm, that's the ship he was on, and he basically saved that ship from sinking because of catastrophic damage that was done in the engine room when a wave almost capsized and things started breaking loose and putting holes and starting big fires.
Wow.
And they do stuff that's damned impressive. I've got nothing but respect for the Coast Guard.
Good words. Let's see here. Time wise, we're okay. We got like half an hour here. I'm not in a big rush today because I ordered my son's lunch and he's happy again. That little interrupt I had, our server computer had screwed up and stopped playing his movie. I had to reboot it quick and get everything going again, but away we go.
I got a new topic actually. A thought that I had. That
okay, hold on. Let me hit a button here.
And now for something completely different.
I don't think I've ever seen you use that one.
A man with 3 buttocks.
You were waiting for an excuse to use that.
I love that. Well, anything Monty Python. Come on, right? Anyway, go ahead, buddy.
Absolutely. I was going to say, going back to the topic of Russian colonialism and really just general imperialism, but colonialism specifically, one thought that I had that, might be a good way to get the thought across to North Americans, specifically Americans and Canadians, about what it's like to have Russia as a neighbor. In the 1860s, if Russia had never been in a situation where they sold Alaska to the U.S., if that were still part of Moscovia to this day, the way that they act to all of their neighbors, whether it's the Baltics or Ukraine or Republic of Georgia, or if Georgia weren't there, probably Armenia as well, anyone on their border, that's something that Canada and the U.S., historically could have actually had to deal with more directly as a threat right there.
Absolutely.
And imagine how different a world, how different history would be if, for both North and South America and the whole world, if Russia had a foothold in that continent.
Oh, man.
It would be, horrific. So, I don't know.
We have no further territorial claims outside Canada. Or Poland or Czechoslovakia, whatever.
Well,
other people have used the line.
And I guess I just bring it up because I've even heard songs from Russian propaganda talking about, the glory of retaking Alaska, and like being sung by military, like their version of.
You sold it fair and square, bitch. Step off.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just a random thought that maybe that's something that should be hammered home a little bit more for those who think it doesn't matter.
On that though, with on the 21st, so that was Tuesday. No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Russian government announced it no longer recognizes the maritime borders of Lithuania and Finland. So it wants to.
They did.
Did they?
They did, and I heard about that, and according to Juzzy, for anyone who's seen Juzzy's videos, apparently there was a quick reversal of it toward the end of this week.
There was.
Yeah. Which I found hilarious that in the span of less than a week you would make a claim of changing territorial borders, maritime borders, and then less than a week later you're just retracting it. It seemed very embarrassing for them.
Okay, I was wondering what was going on with that because I saw the update about it on the 21st, but I didn't see the retraction of it.
I think they were testing the waters, the Russians, to see what kind of response that they would get from Finland and Lithuania. And they got their A response. So they said, just kidding. But they're testing the waters to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it very interesting that they test the waters that way, because it seems very especially Finland. Finland really knows how to deal with Russian bullshit. I mean, come on, what do you expect?
Yeah.
I mean, it's always like the best for me with like the Baltic countries. People are like, yeah, but you guys are just like here for this, and like and the Baltic countries are like, we have hated Russia for a really long time. This has actually nothing to do with Ukraine. We just really want to stick it to Russia.
Yeah. We have a whole
now,
host of our own reasons to hate the bastards.
Well, I mean, if I can speak for finally some representation. Shit.
Go ahead.
There it is. The limelight. Fuck yeah. So, as a proud representative of a Baltic country, I can say that Ukraine is doing great. We are very jealous that Ukraine has overtaken us as a number one Nazis in the Russian perspective. This is unfortunate, but we are gonna put effort to make sure that next time we're gonna stay on top.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna show how microphone works.
You're
I hope that we all of us around the world continue to seek ways to piss off the Kremlin as much as possible.
Yeah.
Starsky.
Mic drop. Perfect.
Starsky, we've got a video queued up you sent over. We should show everybody this one. Do you want to set it up there?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, here. This is fresh footage, like literally like almost as recent as us being live, right?
Yeah, there are two bombs striking the epicenter mall. You can see the two explosions and massive panic right after that. So that's the video that was shared by the local administration. And again, as you can see, it's a completely civilian object. There's plenty of civilian cars, people with kids and stuff. That like no military targets, no military vehicles, no military personnel. Again, a lot of people go to epicenter for a reason of buying stuff to renovate their apartments. Because due to the war, a lot of people lost their windows, right? Which is like explosions are the most frequent reason for losing windows. So they go there to buy different things to renovate their houses, their homes. And also there's usually different attractions for like kids. There's like cafeteria, restaurants. There's places where you can leave your kids and go buy stuff until your kids are like there in the kids' room and shit like that. So usually this place is always full of civilian people, and in majority of cases they are there with kids.
Yeah, there was no sign of anything military in that footage whatsoever. That was simply a civilian place. And anybody out there, if you're some apologist piece of garbage who says, oh, but it might have been an accident. How many times have we seen this? There's no accident here. This is just orcs being orcs, right? This is what they do. They actively...
Orcs hate you. Orcs hate Ukrainians, so they consider all Ukrainians their enemies. So civilians, military, everybody. That's why what they do. They kill their enemies. They kill us, regardless of our occupation and things like that. Russians hate Ukrainian language so much. You will never find a Russian who like literally learned Ukrainian language out of interest.
Right.
No. There are no Ukrainian schools in Russia. There never were Ukrainian schools in Russia, even though they demand Russian schools in Ukraine. And we had approximately 1,000 schools before the big invasion and before the Russian hybrid warfare started. They want Ukrainian identity to disappear, and this is something everybody must understand. It's not about like give up until you're alive. No,
they came into this with the intent of extermination.
Just 2 days ago, there was a missile attack in Kharkiv on a publishing house of Vivat. And that just shows this is genocide. They're based on our culture, our language. So yeah,
I heard about that strike, and if I'm not mistaken, there was an author who recently, a Ukrainian language poet, who recently passed in the war, and I think a manuscript of theirs, one of the only copies, was owned by another writer who died in that attack on the publishing house. I could have the details mixed up, but it was something along those lines. And I just remember thinking, God, that's fucking horrific. That's it's like attacking the soul of an entire culture when shit like that happens.
Dick, does this new platform allow you to share screen?
Yeah, I do believe if you share screen, it should take over so that it takes over for your picture and it'll work perfectly. Let's test this out.
It says only organizers and presenters. Maybe you have to mark the people as presenter.
Okay.
I don't know.
Hold on a second here.
Yeah, but Slavi, I know.
Make a presenter. Okay, there you go.
Maxim Slavi, that Ukrainian journalist, he the place where he published his book, his publisher is also in Kharkiv, and he said the majority of Ukrainian publishing is actually done in Kharkiv.
Yeah, that's the biggest publishing house in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a cultural center then for
it's a big publishing. It's like the biggest it's where Ukrainian publishing happens basically.
Yeah.
And
I'll send it to you, Dickie.
And it's the second publishing house that has been hit.
Okay. I was sent a picture here. Liam Wakefield in the chat. So if everybody wants to get their tizzies in a fit, here's oh, wait a minute. Why is it doing that? Hold on a second here, everybody. Here is political hottie person. There we go. All dressed up and being hottie and stuff. I was told that this would send Starsky into a tizzy.
Wait, so this is in the northeastern part you're showing, right?
Yes, this is the one. I gave you the wrong address earlier. This is the northeastern one. Are you seeing the screen now?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, shoot. We're not getting it on the show. How do I do this?
See it now.
Yeah.
You guys can see it, but I don't think it's pushing through to the stream.
Not pushing through to the stream.
Yeah.
Well, if he gets it, I'll show you guys.
I know this. I know this place very well. Like I've been there many times.
This is the one. So this is the epicenter here. This is the Caravan Mall. It's massive. McDonald's in here.
Okay,
massive shopping center. This is a furniture store. I mean, this is where we shop. And
there is
Shell gas station
nothing
here.
there. There is
there's nothing, dude. And then
it's
garages.
like literally just people sleeping. There is like a big market for like clothes and all that.
Yes, and there's a small arena here.
Okay,
there's a brewery that was pretty good there.
Greg, do the shared screen again, because I do believe I've got this all sorted for you.
Okay. I will go back to Teams, and now it's turned off. I don't think I have capability now.
You should. No?
Yeah.
Hold on a second here.
I had it. It left it.
Greg, make a presenter. Oh, okay. Weird. Why did
All right,
that
let's
turn
try
off?
again.
Okay,
Here
there you go.
Here we go.
Yep.
Here we go, guys. Are you seeing that?
Yeah. Okay. Here, and I can turn it on. 1 second. There we go.
You got it?
Okay.
You got it?
Yep.
All right. So Georgie knows this place well. It's right by the Kharkiv River, and I'll just go from here, maybe that range, then I'll go there, and then I'll go down to Street View. So this is actually the epicenter that was hit, and the strike was right there. You can see it in the footage. This right here is a massive shopping mall called Caravan, and a majority of it's been closed for months. Although this portion actually works. The McDonald's in here is closed. Here, this red roof is a furniture store, a massive furniture store. This is a gas station. This is just the parking lot and a parking lot. These are your 9-story block, massive section of housing. This is a park. This is the river, and this is garages, and this is garages. That's it. This is what was hit right there. If I take that off, and then I think I can at least get to this point on the street view. And yeah, so here you can see that's the mall. And in the very back behind that tree is the orange and blue of Epicenter. And right, if you look in the middle of the screen now, that's the Epicenter logo. And there's the Shell gas station. That's it, guys. That was the target today. So.
Quick question, Dick. Did you see the message from chat?
Yeah, when I enabled his screen share for some reason, the Microsoft Teams doubled your audio, and you were having a little echo thing there, Greg, for a minute. Sorry,
it's bringing in the tab audio too. Maybe I don't know why, but
yeah,
but
yeah,
people,
it was very strange. You know, yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
guys.
the visuals all came through.
Okay,
good. Yeah, this is we usually use an open source thing called Video Ninja for our group chatter in the background that brings it onto the show. But today we're trying Microsoft Teams because it'll be more helpful to people that join us on like telephones and cell phones or whatever, and with bad remote connections, because we get a lot of people from Ukraine that join the show. And you know, Greg, I mean, yourself, you're heading back out here soon. You know, I got to make sure the back end can handle it, and there's some growing pains. So you know, sorry about that. We're trying our best here.
I haven't had any disconnection issues, so that's cool as well.
Yeah,
apparently, I'm also having issues.
And if we're talking about growing pain, can I come in, because like my stress ball is already like I've been destroying it for a while now. But this is what gets my blood boil. Like specifically what Greg explained and you all guys talked about is that right now there is a big discussion, right, about whether or not Ukraine should be allowed to strike military targets like in the territory of Russia. And it is presented like this is some kind of a like big escalation, like this is some kind of a big step forward, like suddenly we are in this new stage of war where we have never seen before, that Ukraine suddenly is going to attack Russia proper, like Russia was this peaceful state, that there was nothing happening, no war, and then suddenly Ukrainians are gonna try to use weapons to destroy the livelihood of those peaceful Russians that are nothing to be blamed, because this is obviously Putin's war and not Russian war, and this is what completely gets to me, because what's happening right now, it's been normalized. Like, let's be very honest, right? We are sitting here, we're trying to convey the message just how horrific it is, that there is nothing that even comes close, that Ukraine has been suffering all of these strikes, all of these abuse, torture, everything. Like it's basically Russia went to the list of the war crimes and basically handed out to their units as a manual, like this is your checklist to do if you're going to participate in a military conflict in Ukraine. And after committing all of this, they are now trying to play and pretend that this is some kind of a normalized conflict in which Ukraine should not potentially be allowed to strike targets in Russia, because that would be a little bit of an escalation. Escalation, my ass. This is absolutely incredible that we're still having this discussion and even considering that there is some kind of a evaluation needs to be made.
Yeah, absolutely agreed.
Yep.
I'm
100% agree, Georgie.
Sorry, it's just like it's because like this is like epicenter is not just because it's a mall, not just because this was a strike, but because it is normalized. Because everyone's like, well, that's Russia do, you know, that's what Russia does. You know, it's just a war crime. What's wrong with you? Why are you so worried about this? Like, what's wrong with you? Eh?
Georgie,
Yeah.
you know as well as I know, and I don't know if Starsky's been to that epicenter or not, but you said you have. I mean, that is the region, that is the epicenter where Zhenya and I shop when we're picking up different things. And right now, I think we're throughout Kharkiv today. 6 or 7 souls have been lost today, and 60 some wounded. There are still like 15 employees that are missing. So I'm sure where it struck that we've lost some employees, but we will wait. I always wait to hear the actual facts instead of conjecture. But the reality is this could have been a massive casualty day, a massive casualty day. That epicenter quite often is loaded. The mall is loaded because there's not too many places that are still open. In Kharkiv, where you, especially on that side of the city, where you can get things. And guys, unless you've been there, Kharkiv is a massive city to navigate through. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite cities in Ukraine, that in Kherson. And how can anybody look at the war and even use the word escalation? It's time to take the gloves off and smash them. And it's not about Ukrainian drones that are doing such a good job hitting refineries deep into Russia, whether in the south or moving out east. It's time to start smashing some military targets with Western weapons and not play the game anymore.
It's another big part of Russian propaganda is that they're normalizing these attacks here for the Western public, desensitize it completely. And none of this is normal. It should not be normal. And we need to up kind of the outrage and the, pass it to normal people, because it's absolutely horrific what they're doing. I pulled it up the other day on the publishing house. It was 50,000 books that are gone, affecting 3 publishers. And it's a huge, significant cultural loss as well. Because there was educational books, there was history books, and as we know, Russia likes to change the history of Ukraine.
Oh yeah,
it's very
No, the commissars never disappear from the photographs.
Well, the other thing I would say to support you, Slavi, is not only the normalization, but unfortunately now. And like while you were saying that, it made me think to open a couple tabs and check U.S. news sites. So I just chose 2. I chose 2 of the larger platforms that look at things differently, CNN and Fox, and I just pulled them both up. Neither platform is mentioning anything about this strike in Kharkiv. There is zero information on both sites right now. Zero.
They're stuck right now on the story of Putin's proposal to be peace, right?
That's exactly right, Georgie. Yeah. They're talking about Putin's proposal for peace, and unfortunately, a PGA golf star just died. A baseball play that's on Fox, on CNN. It's how a Thai company broke Red Lobster, and Kansas City Chiefs football player, and 10 people killed in a drone attack in Gaza. Those are the news stories. So it's not only
that would explain why I don't go to those sites.
I understand it, but millions of people do. Mm-hmm. And the story is being just ignored. And as Slavi said, it's being normalized to the point where we don't even have to mention anymore. They just drop bombs every day. So, but also, and that's a tragedy. We have to stop that.
The question I would BBC Europe for top story for this. Just
there you go.
So
Yeah.
talking block.
But also
really,
to-
The question I would pose, Greg, is that being done deliberately, or is it being done simply because the war has dragged on for over 2 years and news sources, it's all about getting
It's
the
clicks.
splashy headline
Yeah.
to generate sales.
I
But how
the end
would
result is the same, but
Commander McMillan, how would, if you want clickbait, how would not a story of, honestly, and I know Kharkiv very well, one of the largest shopping areas between the the mall and the
I get it.
epicenter in all of Kharkiv being directly hit by missiles, how can that not even be a title?
I know.
I get it, but what I'm saying is, if you look at our experience in Iraq and Afghanistan, you'd have a base that would be attacked and a dozen people get killed. It barely made, fourth page on a newspaper. After a time, people don't give a damn.
It reeks of agenda, but does it actually reflect modern attention spans due to social media's impact?
And that's exactly my question. Is this being deliberately manipulated by people who are maybe not in the pay of, but certainly under the influenced thumb of the Kremlin? Or is this simply that this is modern news?
Yeah, Starsky. Sorry, dude. Starsky, you're
8 months ago. There was a tab on Washington Post that was for Ukraine specifically. They took it down completely. This was about 8 months ago.
And remember, guys, we are just really starting to heat up in the election season here in the United States. And I promise you, there's a lot of influence on stories and narratives and media pushing agendas.
Yeah.
And
when he says influence, he means cash.
Absolutely. And I'm talking.
No money's changing hands under the table. Come on. That never happens.
So it's going to be an interesting ride. But my point would be, it's very unfortunate that here in my country, which I know that a majority of people love Ukraine, the ones that do not are informed, and we have to this Professor Gertis and I talked about it, re-educate them because they went down the wrong path of education. It's not educate them, it's to re-educate them. So I know that's true, and it's just sad that we would have a day like this. And if you compound it with the strike on the publishing house, which is just down the road, not too far, by the way. And plus there were other missiles dropped in Kharkiv today. Fortunately, the one hitting in the Central Park did not detonate. It was a dud. They're now there removing the warhead. And if that would have went off, this number would have been worse. But thank God it's not. And these stories just can't be ignored. That I don't know what else to do, but we do all do our.
That's why.
But
actually, no. But hold on. Sorry, everybody. But one sec. That's why it takes the collective effort of every single person on this panel and lots more besides to keep this in the focus of everyone. This has got to be in the consciousness, right? And lately we've had some people that are really good at that, Georgie here. We're starting to consider ourselves here the virtual pub of Ukraine support, where people come to chill and just talk about whatever. But it's so important. Like Georgie, it's the message now is almost more important than it was a year ago, isn't it?
It is, but my problem with that, Dick, is not that there are not good voices for Ukraine. They are, and this is kind of, we're doing like now first circle, coming back to the Goncharenko and what Greg is saying.
Very much.
My problem is that we are repeating mistakes that have been already made many times before. We're seeing people in power and people that have responsibility not acting on that responsibility, acting irresponsibly. Like, we're seeing leaders either not wanting to lead or trying to step away or trying to provide some kind of half decisions, provide some kind of half measures, and just hoping and praying that maybe sometime it will just kind of go away on its own. that maybe, just maybe, if we will not kind of notice that Putin took Crimea, then he will stop and he is not going to do things again. That maybe if we're just going to like maybe not report on what's happening in Ukraine, then our audience is not going to be bored and what so on. We see people that don't want to take responsibility. They're taking the routes that they're being essentially considering that these are easier way outs, that this is the way that it goes. This is just the world that we live in, and they're trying to sell it to you. And I'm saying to all of those people, and that's why in my channel, like I'm always in a conflict with at least a third of my audience. No, I think we should not just select what's easier, what's convenient, what's there. We need to make sure that the right stories are being made, and specifically the people with power are being held accountable, and they're making sure that people with power know that the decisions that they're making now are required to be made properly, so we have a brighter future tomorrow.
This is, I think,
Georgia, you're absolutely correct.
This is well, sorry, Sakai, one sec. This is why I think you're a very respected voice in the Ukraine community, because even when somebody who's like a viewer of your channel has an opinion that you don't really agree with, you don't pander to them. You just say, no, not absolutely not. I a lot of respect there, a lot of respect there. That's not click chasing. That's being you.
Yeah. Well, and I want to build upon what you were just saying, Georgie. Part of the problem is some of these leaders that you're referring to who are just want to ignore it, let it go away. We'll get past, the global community, get past this and then go back to business as usual. The problem is with
fucking UN is still present. Fucking UN is still considered as serious. You're stating global community does this. Fuck the global communities. They're still treating UN seriously.
No, exactly. And the worst part is the reason you've got some leaders who think that way is because they have this idea that's been reinforced over the years with 2008, with Abkhazia and South Ossetia and Georgia, with Crimea in 2014. And there's this expectation of, okay, just give it a couple of years, and then when the news cycle moves, past it after maybe a decade, then no one will worry anymore. No, that's not the way this fucking works. And we need to send a strong message that you can't take that attitude at all, and most especially for something of this fucking scale.
Yeah.
But actually, on Georgie, on you mentioning the UN and so on, there's a Ukrainian, he's called Maxim Yakovlev. He's got a PhD in a whole bunch of, I think, like he's got a PhD in like political science guy. Really cool guy. But he wrote a book a nonfiction book that he published last year, but it's only in Ukrainian, so I can't read it. But it's basically called Conspiracy Theories, How Not to Become a Conspiracy Theorist. And it's written for the Ukrainian audience, for, Ukrainian readers, obviously. But one of the conspiracy theories he gives there as an example is, apparently, and I wasn't aware of this, but in America, there is a conspiracy theory that the United Nations wants to take over the United States and control it and the world. And he said this, and he's like, for anyone in Ukraine, this is an absolute joke, because Ukrainians look at this and they're like, but the United Nations is useless. They can't even stop a genocide.
Having worked with the UN overseas a number of times, I can say trying to source toilet paper for them is so complex. The idea of taking over a whole country, wow.
Yeah.
So,
that's a stretch.
but and that is just kind of like, for me, that when you said like they value the UN and everything, I'm just like, it made me think of that specific.
If the UN had value, this would already be done. Let's face it. Isn't that what it was supposed to be for? To make sure this doesn't happen, right?
If the UN had value, Russia would not be on the Security Council, nor have
I
active
also
membership.
have my little tinfoil hat moment here, guys. I do have my tinfoil hat moment. where I'm like, we know that Russia wants to kind of they have this whole thing of like multipolar world. You know, you've got the US on the one side and Russia as your other world power and everything. And they have said in the past that, you know, they want to break away from the UN and everything. So I'm like, what if this is all like, and I'm saying like big, massive tinfoil hat, okay? Like, what if this is all them having this big, elaborate plan to get us to lose faith in the UN, which, I mean, the UN has absolutely, like, deserves no faith.
I think that if that were realistically a plan, it's the stupidest plan ever. Because even North Korea, if I'm not mistaken, is still, or are they not? I think they're still considered part of the UN, right?
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we actually have a troll in the chat.
Yeah, you've noticed.
Yeah, we have a soldier that defends the U.S. Constitution, so of course they support Russia fighting the Nazis. So here we've got Chat Puppy. Look, this is that person just jumping up and down, vying for attention. You see that? You know, yeah, you got your 2 cents worth. Now, fuck right off. Jesus Christ.
It's probably the same person that usually says like U.S. is a republic, not a democracy.
Yeah, as though it can't be both at the same time, like most modern complex nation states that are democracies.
I played Civilization 2 Gold, and it taught me it works that way. So, let me run through a few super chat shout outs and stuff here. I am going to try and figure out where I left off and jump back in.
Dick, before you do that, I got to wait. Bye-bye.
Okay. We're going to lose Commander McMillan. Everybody
Commander.
say goodbye.
Take care.
Commander.
Talk to your.
Yeah, I'm actually
officials
also
and tell them
very,
to
very.
back Ukraine.
I'm actually probably going to be also bouncing, because it's going to get late for me already.
Yeah. Okay, let's do our goodbyes. Commander, shout outs and final thoughts here. What do you got?
I think Commander just
He's already left.
Oh, we already lost him. Okay. Here. Let's turn to Georgie then, because he's got to get running and do his thing and stuff. What do you think? You know, final thoughts and wrap ups and stuff. What do you got?
Thank you so much. It's been a huge pleasure to be here again. Absolutely. Thank you. Very nice meeting everyone. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat. I know that Rick was in the chat and everyone else that I just maybe cannot see and so on. Definitely what's required right now from all of us is obviously support Ukraine, promote the messages. I always explain on my channel that because we are in this situation where Russia has this big propaganda machine, they are spreading the news and they're dominating the algorithms. So it's very, very important that we take it upon ourselves and share the news in our media. I know that sometimes it might feel weird, like I'm sharing something, like I'm having these friends, like what they will think about me, but it's required. It's all for good cause. So if you can, please do a share for the news about the epicenter, about the strikes, about everything. So more and more people remember that, hey, you know, something's still happening in Ukraine. And more importantly is that the help not only with the finance. You can help by just calling your direct representative. That is always relevant. Last time when we did a big campaign on pushing on the politicians, finally we were able to push through Micro Johnson, and we were able to get some pressure on them. And I'm pretty sure that was one of the bigger reasons that they got a lot of their calls and mails from the public that they needed to pass the support for Ukraine, and it was with delay, but it happened. So the same is now. Ukraine is in a critical situation. We need to get past this stupid restriction. So please contact your direct representative. Write an email if you don't want to call. Just something like dedicate 5 minutes. Doesn't cost you anything, but it matters a lot. Thanks.
Amen.
Absolutely. Thank you, Georgie. Oh, and
good words,
Dick,
buddy. Good words.
Actually, to tie in with what Georgia was saying, could we pull up that link that I sent you?
Yeah, but let's make sure Georgie's got his moment to bow out and be cool. So thanks for joining us so much.
See you, brother.
Yeah, we'll talk to you real soon. I can't wait to have you back again. Absolutely.
Bye.
Later, Georgia.
Yeah, what a guy. You gotta love the man. He stands by his opinions strong and hard, and they're usually very good opinions. So
Yep.
What are we looking at here? We're 2:05. I don't like the show to run too long. Secular Sakai, you're jumping in next, right?
Yeah, I just wanted, on the topic of people contacting the representatives, I actually just wanted to share specifically for what's relevant right now, a page with details for Americans, with kind of a script, a little bit of a run through of how to contact their senators and representatives, specifically to ask for the U.S. to allow Ukraine to strike within the territory of the Russian Federation with weapons that have been provided, address issues that have currently been happening due to lack of air defense from Russian glide bombs and other weapons used by the enemy forces, and really just to stand by Ukraine on the specific topics that are most important right now.
Yeah, we've got the link being dropped in the chat right now. It's very simple and easy to follow along, even if you have a short attention span. It's not your fault. You're just young.
I'd have to add to that also, you're sticking to specific topics. F-16s, Ukraine does need air superiority. So I think when you do call your reps, add that in there for sure.
Yeah.
Good call.
Friends, I also have to say something. Unfortunately, my laptop is going to die very, very soon.
Yeah.
It's just 5% left. So I think I will have to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And before I do that, I would like to say thank you to everybody who supports Ukraine, everybody who supports the Shills, my channel, and channels of all the members of this amazing panel. Guys, you are doing amazing job, and Ukrainians will never forget your help. Trust me on that. We will always remember every single word of support that was said to us. So this is what I wanted to tell you guys. I will be running away, but we're not saying goodbye. We're saying see you later.
Yeah,
because
baby.
we will see you very, very soon. Guys,
Much
love you
love,
so
brother
much.
Starsky.
Bye,
Much
Starsky.
love, buddy.
Yep.
We'll talk
We'll
soon.
see you later. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care, buddy. You just can't help but love that guy. He's just so freaking cool.
It's the bald head.
Yep.
Yeah. You just want to rub it and make sure it's all nice and shiny, don't you?
So while we're still on the topic on the things that Ukraine needs right now and to advocate for air defense, I wanted to add that as well. Air defense Patriots. So we have Patriots, strike inside Russia, and F-16s. Those are things to mention to your reps.
I actually, Greg, I don't know if you can confirm this, but I read a report today. I don't know if it's true yet, that the first graduates of the Ukrainian fighter pilots have graduated and are now ready to fly the F-16s.
Well, they finished their training. The batch that was training in the U.S., they did complete it. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere in Arizona they were finishing up that training. Yeah.
Yeah.
Area
right now,
51, they were flying
ground-
special alien airplanes, man.
One state over, Dick. One state over.
Right.
ground crews are still being trained, but we're getting close.
Remember in the beginning of the invasion, there was a lot of talk about aliens. And then there was a meme that was going around that Ukrainians would try to borrow the alien spacecraft to, get it real quick.
Slavi, did you hear the thing when Russia first went into Ukraine in their illegal occupation of a sovereign nation? the ancient alien crew and all those morons were claiming that Ukraine had an ancient alien ark of knowledge that they had found, and that's what Russia was really going for.
Wow.
I didn't hear.
That's
I
not
didn't hear
true,
about
Dick.
that. Vic.
Indiana Jones discovered it in 1938 or something. We already found it, dude.
Insane with their conspiracy theories and the stuff. So it's all Kremlin fabrication. That's all where it comes out from. So of course they target, the most weak-minded, and conspiracy theorists tend to be the most weak-minded. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
Very well
there.
stated.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So let's go around the table here and get thoughts and wrap-ups from everybody. We'll start with the lovely Yana from Project Constantine. What do you think?
Yeah. Hi, guys. Today was not a good day for Ukraine. Wasn't a good week. It hasn't been a good 3 years. And longer than that. But I think, we need to, just remember what we're doing. And, we might get tired, but remember there are like Ukrainians as well who don't get to sleep because there are air raid alerts. So, keep that in mind. And then whenever someone tries to talk crap to you and tells like, yeah, but you don't know what you're talking about, be like, okay, let's debunk some propaganda.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with bitch slapping a motherfucker now and then, is there?
Yeah. And, it's a thing of, picking your battles. And just, where you go, continue to talk about Ukraine. I mean, I have this necklace with the Ukrainian trident on it, and I wear it like every day. And when I go to my students' houses, they're like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, no, this is what it is. And then I start talking about Ukraine. So,
I like your hat.
Find conversation.
Great hat.
Thank you. So it's like find conversation starters, like make sure people know that the war is still going on, because that's a question that I keep being asked, like, hey, is it over yet? I'm like, no, it's not
even close, man.
So keep that, make the public aware where you go, make them aware of it.
Yeah. Good shout, good call. Secular Sakai from YouTube channel Tridents Against Tyrants, that I've finally said correctly the first time, and has got excellent information and live streams as well. Make sure you get over and subscribe. What do you think, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, this was a good discussion. Went over quite a few important topics. Strongly agree with Yana's closing statement. Be sure you're talking with everybody about this, everyone, because it really is a grassroots effort to help keep this alive among just everyday communities you speak with on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. A lot of people only have partial information or misinformation about the war. You have a lot of people who, when they are talking about it, if they have a vested interest, it's kind of, I support Ukraine, but then that's it, and they go on with their life. Or you even have the opposite end of the spectrum. I want peace so badly, let's do whatever it takes, even appeasement, to make it happen. And you need to set both of those people straight that this is incredibly important, and the result of this conflict will roll into other future conflicts in our world. It will have an effect on our world, a ripple effect. So we need to stand by Ukraine.
Good words. We've got Slavi and Greg T to get to. I'm going to run through a few shout outs here. Holy Oplation came in with a lovely super sticker. See, Greg, I can say it. You see?
You did a
see
beautiful
that?
job there, Dick. I'm very proud of you.
We got John Larkin in with the super chat. Bad News Badger. I love that one. John Larkin again. SSW Custom Sewing War Russia Ukraine. Raza. I love that very much. Linda S. gifting out memberships. John Pootler coming in with a super chat. And then we got generic username with a membership shout out, and Scott Breezen as well. I got to come over here. We got Cinnamon in the chat for a direct donation for the Boom Boom Fund. We've got John. Wait a minute. No, hold on. Sorry, I got this all screwed up. We've got YOLO Swaggins in with Slava Ukraine. Love you all with a direct donation. And then we've got Baltar by your command for the Boom Boom Fund. Thanks for the Saturday streams, Slava Ukraine. Heroium Slava. Yeah.
Heroium Slava.
So I do believe I'm caught up. Oh, Greg, you've got the magic finger that just knows exactly when to hit it, don't you?
It's such a nice.
I love it. I love it. Let's turn to the lovely Slavi for thoughts and wrap-ups. Remember, you got to get over to Slavi's channel. We're trying our best to make sure that she gets up to the monetization level of all the great and goodness that is YouTube. And if you're a troll, just fuck right off. Don't be bugging her, all right? So what do you think, Slavi?
I love that. Thank you so much for the plug. Yes, please subscribe to my YouTube. I did just recently started, and I'm making content about Ukraine to show it to mostly, the Western public, but maybe to the people that don't know the news about Ukraine, don't know the history, don't know the culture. So just making it a little bit more available in a way that people like to watch their content online. For my kind of demographic. I have to shout out to the city of Kharkiv, my hometown. The ballet school that I went to, there was a story that was, they did, United 24 did, and it's the troupe dances in the dark. Despite constant Russian shelling and frequent blackouts, the Kharkiv Opera and Ballet Theater continues to perform. And now they're performing underground. So big shout out to them. Guys, keep Kharkiv talking, keep talking about Kharkiv. There's no power. So advocate for solar energy as well. I know here in California, there's a lot of businesses that do solar energy. So if you know anybody that's working for one, I would suggest that you get the story about Kharkiv and Ukraine out there and just get it on people's minds. It's very important. I'd like to thank people who are watching this and everybody on the panel. Thank you so much. Slava Ukraine. And I got
Heroium Slava.
Heroium Slava.
Trident.
Do permoga.
Hey, nice.
Oh, that's
Beautiful.
awesome. Here, Slavi,
awesome.
say a few words so you're on the screen and put that picture, put that up so I can show everybody.
Oh, Slava Ukraine and Heroium Slava.
All right. Oh, I think it's a little blurred.
Yeah.
Background, so
Yeah.
maybe.
Teams is doing its number. Darn it. Slavi, take a picture after and I'll put it up as a community post to make sure everybody gets, okay.
Yeah.
For sure. I will.
So the pistol swinging preacher, we got to bring him in. He is the guy I lean on to help me through this show all the time. Greg Terry, what do you got?
Thank
buddy?
you, brother. I appreciate it. Just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to the panelists. Of course, Georgie and Starsky already being hours ahead of us. They retired, and Commander McMillan, thanks to him, thanks to Slavi. Thanks to Yana, thanks to Secular Sakai, and of course, thanks to you, Dick Dawson, and all of your gadgets and tricks and tips and all of the things that you do. We appreciate you, man, because you do a lot of work behind the scenes that nobody sees. And I need to give a big shout out to Yana. She's helping me on a certain project for my thing right now, my channel that not going to be public yet. Additionally, I would like to say thank you to all of the chat. I see lots of names I recognize. One of my very important moderators is in here, Paul Deberitz. Thanks to you. And as always, you guys are just amazing. Our support for Ukraine. I am going to be in fact, I'm working on something right now because I stream, Monday through Fridays at 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern, depends on if I'm at the gym or not. And of course, all the guys from Ukraine, and Pete was on last night and all that jazz. But I know everybody's telling me, Greg, you've got to get more content out. So I'm actually going to be initiating a new segment. It's going to only be 5 minutes, and it's going to be like a video a day with like the most important story. Like Professor Greta's got his 3 top stories, all that. Yeah. So and I know he was in the chat earlier, so I've got to do something. So you guys be looking for that. That will not be lives. That'll be videos. You should
call it. You should call it "What Grinds My Gears" and just let it off the chain, brother.
Yes, that sounds like a great title that I'm sure my grandmother that would love to watch her grandson scream about what grinds my gears. And yes, my grandmother's still alive. She's 93 years old.
She must
actually
be
both
one
of
of
my grandmothers are still alive. So there's going to be more Greg's Coffee Talk, or maybe like 5 minutes more or something. I'm working on it. And people have already been emailing me ideas. So if you have an idea for that, go to my website. It's on my descriptions. GregTerry.org, and say, here's a possible title for it. It's going to be 5 minutes. Cool. Like today, it would just be the story about Kharkiv, and I would show the video and all that jazz, because we need to keep the attention out there, not just the lives, but what is really, really happening, like the top thing from each day. So working on that.
It's almost a fight now, Greg, right?
Yeah, it's serious, man, and we've got to take it up to the next level. But as we close out, this is a holiday weekend in the United States. Here on Monday, we will be celebrating Memorial Day. And Memorial Day, originally established during the Civil War, but now is a holiday that honors those that have died in military service for the United States. It's also like the official start for summer here in the U.S., but I know it's an American holiday. Yeah. But through this weekend, guys, and especially if you're Americans in the chat, and I know there's a lot of Americans in here as well as people from all around the world. But if you're an American and you're on Memorial Day, and you're remembering maybe your father, your grandfather, your grandmother who served, whatever, let's also pay tribute to those Ukrainians that are fighting for all of us now. I know it's an American holiday, but we're gonna be memorializing Ukrainians that are giving their lives every day. And we may be going to picnics and parties, but you have to remember that right now, let me explain Ukraine to you. It's getting warm. It's getting green. All along the front lines, the mosquitoes are flying by the thousands. There are rats in the trenches. There are shells incoming. There are so many drones, they can't lift their head, and they fight on to victory. So we definitely pay tribute, and we think about and honor those Ukrainians that have died over the last 822 days of this phase of the war. So Slava Ukraine, Geroim Slava.
Good shout, man. Good shout. We've got Linda S. I think that equates to the username in the live chat, but because of donation companies and real names and stuff, I'm trying to keep it, but $100 direct donation into the Boom Boom Fund. We got a couple of last minute shout outs here. We've got Mark Schneider, 8022, doing a super sticker to victory. It's the hippo guy doing his whole dance and stuff. I try to act these out because people think it's funny when I act like a moron, and well, we all know that happens a lot. So, fellow babies, remember, It's all about keeping the narrative where it should be right now. You've got to recognize the propaganda. You've got to be able to either A, just push it aside and ignore it, or B, counter it. But if you're going to counter it, don't give it a platform. Just give it a slam and move on, and make sure that others aren't doing the same, are doing the same.
Let me just tell you this right now, Dick, because I know we're talking about it a lot today. Italy coming out right now and opposing Ukraine's ability to strike with Western weapons into Russia. It's irrelevant, but that's, of course, what they're saying. And additionally, as we were talking, those airplanes are still in the air, the Tupolev 95s. Okay. And right now, 3 drones are over Odessa, 3 drones are over Kherson, 2 are over Mykolaiv, 2 are over Kropotnivsky, 2 are over Dnipro, and 5 are over Zaporizhia. So it's a lot of shaheeds in the air. So we could potentially be looking at a large missile attack tonight. So continue to remember Ukraine. Keep your eyes on the news. Yeah, and it may be a tough night, Ukraine. So let's remember our partners and friends.
If you're all looking for something to do later, my son seems to be very much in his own mood. So there might be a surprise live stream on the Shills in a couple hours where we'll just be getting together to have a hangout. Greg, Yana, Slavi, Secular Sakai, Dunk, and a few of the others. Who knows who will show up? And, but I'm feeling it. So I think it's going to happen. Remember, everybody,
give me a shout, Dick. If I'm not smooching with my wife on the front porch, I'll be glad to jump in.
Also, remember, I wanted to add something really quick. We got to remember Ukraine is fighting alone, and not just Russia. It's a coalition of Iran had drones, North Korean missiles were found in Kharkiv. And just recently, today, there is Chinese involvement, and this is coming from the UK's defense.
Damn right, yeah.
That they have revealed that intelligence reports suggest that China has provided lethal aid to Russia. Yeah. And this is huge involvement of major global power that adds to dimension to the genocidal invasion that should have significant geopolitical implications. So that's very important to keep in mind.
Slavi, I have physically with my own eyes seen Chinese stuff in Donetsk Oblast personally. So it's been there for months and months. It definitely could be intensified now. And the other thing, guys, don't sleep on what's happening in Taiwan, because one of these times it's not going to be a training session. It's coming. We all know it. It's coming. So this summer may be crazy. Let's continue to stand for freedom everywhere.
Well, speaking of which, do you want this guy to be your leader? You've got to stand up and vote, people. If you're one of those dudes or dudettes or whatever that just kind of like, I don't really like, but you don't, get up and vote and make sure it's against that horrific piece of crap.
Vote blue. Vote blue.
If you're an American and you are able to get people registered to vote, make them realize how important this is. Yes. Make them realize specifically that their democracy very much can depend on this election.
Oh, God. Don't elect Caesar, people. On that note, we should give a huge shout out to our team in the background. This show runs as smooth as it does because of the team that we have assembled. CF Beauty, who is running the live chat, she is in charge of all the teams in the background. We've also got BME, Shayna Caldwell, Crazy Cat, and Liam Wakefield. So a huge shout out to everybody, because this would be so much more difficult without you. We also got the last couple of super chats in from Ohm and from John Larkin. The Ohm have come, and there's nothing we can do about it. Old Japanese manga joke there.
Thank you, John Larkin.
Yes, very much so. And we the support to the cause We just did a NAFO fundraiser with the Portuguese battalion of the NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade. We wrapped that up pretty quick, right, Slavi? That was kick-ass, wasn't it?
That was great. That was great.
And we are double dipping. We're going right back in. We've got another campaign coming up. Everything that came in tonight, 50% is going to Project Constantine, Yena's group with Pete the Medic and whatnot. And the other half will be going into the pot for the new NAFO fundraiser that we'll have coming up. And that's what we'll be doing going forward, is just splitting the Boom Boom Fund between the two. Because I'm pretty sure we can fund both at once, can't we, fellow babies?
Yeah. Tourniquets
Awesome
right
job.
now, guys.
Yeah.
Tourniquets right now for us.
Yeah. We need some cash in for Project Constantine. So if you're one of those people that don't care about getting shouted out on screen, you just want to throw in a donation because it's the right thing to do, this is your moment right now. Let's say goodnight, everybody.
One more shout out real fast before we say goodnight. Remember, tomorrow's Sunday, so
go to church.
Be sure to check out. I was going to say check out Rick and the Rollers.
Well, actually, you're not wrong there, because we have a new Sunday show, Beyond the Headlines, that's coming out on the Shills, and Annette, CF Beauty, in the live chat has all kinds of plans going on. Not Joker, everybody has plans, but good plans, right? So,
Dick, you have a super chat in from Petra Olsen from Sweden, 129, and that is from her cigarette fund that she has quit smoking, and she's trying to be a really good example for you, Dick. And she is a great supporter of Ukraine.
Here, we're bringing out the horns. All right. Big shout, Petra. Thank you very much. We are the one channel on YouTube that is horrific at ending a stream because they just keep going. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
We love you so
See
much
ya.
for the support. Remember, Slava Ukraine.
Heroes, Slava.
Slava.
Music to my ears.
It's over. Go home. Go.